enough. If you want a Citibank or a JP Morgan or a Kotak to advise you, you need at least 4 or 5 crores. They may start with a crore, but very soon they will lose interest if you don't give them the rest of your money. So we decided that there is a huge opportunity for a normal middle class youth or a middle class mid-age guy who needs help planning his investments. Not that he needs tips to say, okay, invest in Bajaj Auto today or Tata Motors tomorrow or Infosys. How does he plan out his retirement? How does he plan out if it's a youngster that in 10 years time I must have X amount of money which will grow at least at inflation to buy my house or for my children's education or for a medical emergency. So we have launched in June this year in 4 cities a pilot. In Pune we have one over here on Law College Road itself. It's called Bajaj Finserv Wealth Management. And the challenge for this business is managing operating costs, because the minute you're talking about managing retail assets, which could be on average 3 to 5 lakh of rupees, it's not a crore rupees, your costs need to be very thin. And we think we have the right solution over there. This is about long-term advice. So, of course, at that level, it's nobody over here, so I can see my audience is not over here. But yes, people that work for you, and if you really think somebody needs sound financial advice, they should go and check it out. And I'm sure they won't be disappointed. So that's our investment management business. And then we have the 2 insurance companies. Our slogan there is Jio Befikar. So if you want to Jio Befikar, you have to have a Bajaj Allianz policy. That's where I am today. We have businesses at different levels of evolution. Bajaj Finance now, as I said, is both a consumer durable and a SME lender. Our book size, which used to be 2,000 crores 4 years back, just crossed 10,000 crores in September. And the 2 insurance companies, we are in the top 2 or 3 in the private sector in size, but we are the most profitable in the private sector there. On the other hand, the wealth advisory business is very much a startup. So what's interesting for me is juggling balls of different sizes and at different heights. There are some businesses like insurance which are much more stable, and it's more about building strategy there going forwards. It's more about ensuring that we identify and keep identifying and developing the right team to keep building that business up. Bajaj Finance has been a whole transformation from being a monoline player to being a multi-line player now. We recently even added infrastructure lending over there. We brought in a whole new team in 2007. So it's about guiding and building the business along with that team. We have a fantastic team there. And as I said, the wealth advisory is very much in infancy.
So looking at your graph so far, you mentioned certain points where you took a different approach or broke away from the mold. You mentioned the approach to costing, you're looking into exports, and of course the whole decision to focus strategically on the financial services. Can you tell us something about your vision for the future, and what's your very unique perspective on the future? Because this whole series is really, the theme of the series is from inheritors to innovators. So really, what's your vision of the future, and your very individual departure from the course that the group is kind of taking?
See, I strongly believe our future is what we want it to be and what we set it out to become. And each one of us has different challenges in life. It's a question of focusing on the few things that are important to you. And having grown up with my background, but even seeing a whole bunch of friends with entrepreneurial ambitions, I can very clearly say that if anybody has an idea and has the patience and the ability to keep a couple of years, it is much better to try your hand and be an entrepreneur than to keep working for someone else. It doesn't mean working for someone else is bad. I mean, we've got 30,000-40,000 people working for us. That's not the point. But the thrill of doing things yourself, the thrill of being your own boss, the thrill of being responsible for your failure and your success, you can't replicate unless you do it yourself. It's like the thrill of riding a bicycle. If you don't learn and fall a few times, how will you ride that bicycle? How will you know what the thrill is? Or the thrill of riding a motorcycle at 100 kilometers an hour, and I've done it and fallen off it as well. Without a helmet, mind you, that's another story, when I was young. So, I believe that when I see the future in a market like India, I see tremendous opportunity. I see challenges. Corruption is a huge challenge for us. And I can see, especially if you're a small business, I have friends who run small manufacturing businesses, and it's a nightmare dealing with the excise and sales tax and other authorities. But unfortunately, that's a reality. There are others who do it and they still succeed out. So you need to be very clearly focused on what you want to do in your life going forward. That's one. Second, and a lot of people say this, but any day could be your last day. So live every day like it's your last day.
Steve Jobs.
Exactly. And which means think of what are the important things you want to do in your life. And to me at least, work is not the only important thing. It clearly takes up most of my time. But spending time with my family, with a few close friends is equally important. Spending time for myself. So I work out almost every morning, or I do yoga. And doing that is important. So I believe it's important for each one of us to set out some time for the important things in your life. And it does require some amount of organization, because today's life is giving me satisfaction and it gives me pleasure. But I like to balance things out. If I like an idea, I will thoroughly vet it out with my team before I go into implementation. Because I sometimes see people that go from one extreme to another. Whether it's in a decision, whether it's in a particular job that they like to do, whether it's a project that they're doing, whether it's with their kids. Either suddenly they'll be spending every free hour with their child because they think the child has to become a genius. Or suddenly then they're doing something else 6 months later and not doing that. So I think our life, or at least my life I can say, is much better when I balance things out. Which also means you have to sacrifice stuff, because you can't do everything. But at least you get to choose then what's important to you and ensure that you get that done. Or at least ensure as much as you can get done till today that you get done.
Great. I'm going to ask one last question and then open it for the audience. So just coming to the whole discussion about family control over companies. What's your take on that? Would you ever plan to have a successor who was not related to you? Let's put it that way.
I think that's a fairly standard question that comes. And luckily at least, I today under Bajaj Finserv, which is our parent company in financial services, have today 5 other companies below. So I don't have to worry about one successor. But I would follow very much what my father told us when we were kids. And it's very important to separate ownership from management. Because if you want your wealth to increase, you have to manage it well. And it would be foolish to think that you know everything. So I would be stupid to think that I'm the smartest guy who knows how to run general insurance, life insurance, consumer lending, investment management. I don't know any of them. I'm a simple engineer from Pune Engineering College. But hopefully the skills I build is to know how to identify good people, how to build the right strategy with them, how to incentivize them to think long term rather than thinking short term, as we have seen with enough examples that led to the financial collapse in the US and in the Western world. Now what happens 20 years down the line is difficult to say. But clearly, and this is a question that you should talk to my team, and hopefully they will tell you that it's everything about merit and nothing else. Finally, I think it's also important to acknowledge that the best combination I think of a leader is someone who's incentivized in the long term, like a promoter, but who also has the necessary capability. I remember in the late 90s, early 2000, a few business houses in India went with this mantra of completely professionalizing management. And it must have been one of these business gurus from the US that must have come about saying that. and the family was told, okay, no more in business, and they handed it over to professional managers. And not all of those companies performed well, because there are some professional managers who think long term, like a family member would think, and they do fabulously well, and we have enough good examples of that. But there are many others who think of it as a 3 or 4 year role and before they jump onto something else. How can you build something that has to last 20, 50, 100 years when you look at it from a 3 year time frame? So I think the best combination is someone who is capable, clearly, but who also is incentivized long term as a promoter is.
I'm going to open this for audience questions. Can Namita pass the mic, please, to people? Would that be possible?
So, you can say aloud here.
Yeah. Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Sanjeev, it is said that the Fortune 500 companies, the lifespan of a company being in that Fortune 500 is reducing in 15 years. Now, that is a worldwide phenomenon. How do you compare that with in India? Bajaj Auto has been there for years, and I'm sure it's going to be there for another 100 years. So what is the differential? What is the difference between companies operating elsewhere, and they're large companies, and Bajaj Auto, for example? Or, for example, another name, Godrej, Tata,
Yeah.
these are...
Well, my perspective on that is like this, that Fortune 500 or Fortune 1000 is measured either by market cap or by top line in most cases. Now, when you're building a business for the long term, what sustains you is not size, what sustains you is profit. Because that's what allows you to reinvest. And a number of these large companies